Good on everyone. Welcome back. Probably see this has only been a week since the last one. Might start doing some shorter ones, looking at kind of what you guys have been viewing and all of that. It seems like kind of 20 minutes, half hour is probably about it. So we might start trying to break some of these up instead of the kind of hour long 45 minutes. We might start doing some more weekly ones, keep a bit shorter. It's been a good week this week. We've done a fair bit of work on Jimmy's Pulsar. Got some wiring done, got a heap of Raceworks gear, you can probably see in the background here, wiring all sorts. So pretty much got the car to power up, which is kind of cool. So anyway, we'll roll on into it. Hope you guys have been enjoying it. If you are, yeah, give us that like, subscribe, whatever. See if we can start growing it, see if we can get this bigger. Yeah, try these shorter videos every week, see how we go. How do you know you're working on an ex-auto salon car? When everywhere you look, there are neons. So we're just getting ready to pull the fuel tank out. I just found this. At some stage, someone's wired up little blue neons with a bit of speaker cable. Love it. Getting rid of all these neons one by one. There was a couple of big long blue neon tubes sitting underneath the car. Bits and pieces in the engine bay. It's been kind of amusing. So anyway, keep going. Take the fuel tank out. It's going to get replaced with a fuel cell. Obviously after seeing that fuel pump last week, it's going to be no good. Plus update it, make everything a bit safer, make sure we've got enough fuel to keep up with the new motor. So yeah, I think obviously go through the Raceworks catalogue and Jamie and Scott will help us out there, so that'll be good. So yeah, keep going. Cheers. Alright, so fuel tank's out. That was an absolute debacle. Kind of my fault. I was under the impression it was empty. Jimmy thought it was empty, but it wasn't. I reckon there was probably about 30 litres of fuel in there, so when I dropped it, it went everywhere. It made a hell of a mess. So clean that up. But yeah, now the fuel system is out. I've just started kind of mapping out how we're going to place everything. Obviously, it's not a big car. We're trying to make the most of the space we have. One thing I like to do is obviously get a lot of dimensions of everything that we're going to use. One being the fuel cell, so a Raceworks 38 litre fuel cell, 380 by 410. Fuel comes out the back. I like doing it out the back because that means as you're accelerating, all the fuel's heading to where the fuel pickup's going to be anyway. So we'll have fuel out. We'll probably have lines. I would like to run them along the trans tunnel. This pump is kind of a bit of a mystery at the moment. We're not too sure if we're going to run it. Got oil tank for the dry sump. We've got a firebomb, OMP mechanical firebomb, same as what I run in my car. Battery. I'm just playing around with that at the moment. We've got this King's touch panel fuse block. They, from everything I've seen, reviews are saying they seem pretty good. They're a nice compact unit. They're nothing special. They're not like a full PDM style system. They do just run individual relays and fuses. So, but they're all 6 outputs are 30 amp relayed and then just adjustable on the fuse for what your output is. So the lift pump that we're using is a Raceworks external lift pump, a 300 something litre per hour. They only draw like 6 amps. Then our main pressure pump will be a in-tank like a 525 equivalent that Raceworks do, EFP 500. That flows plenty for the power rating of this. If you jump on Raceworks website, they've actually got some really good calculators for all that actually. All the injector sizings, fuel pump for horsepower requirements and that. So we've just kind of spec'd everything off that. That's given us a go-to of what they would recommend. So we've done that. So yeah, just kind of trying to plan it out. We have done, now that I know where everything's going to be, we've just done a massive Raceworks order. So hopefully we'll see that in the next week or so. They're pretty quick to normally get everything out. I do know that they are changing their fuel tank styles or their fuel cell styles, so they're actually going to something with a larger opening, because at the moment their old style, all it was really useful was the fill point. Now they're actually going to have a triple pump hanger, drop-in hanger that we can use. So we're not going to take advantage of that, just because it is a circuit racing car. We do want to run just a lift pump and then a dedicated surge, so we'll keep going with that. We have been, obviously with the carbon done and pulled out, we've marked up our door card and just starting to trim that out. I wasn't too sure how we'd go, what we'd use to trim it, but funnily enough I just pulled some fresh king chrome tin snips out and they seem to be working pretty well, so we'll keep going with that. I'm sure it'll probably dull them off and they'll probably go blunt fairly quickly cutting carbon. It is a really aggressive material to cut. I know a lot of people use diamond blades and like Dremels and that kind of stuff, so see how long it lasts. We might have to sharpen them up once or twice, but hey, see what happens. Anyway, keep going with that. I think we'll try and just get this door card finished. I just want to get that little project done, get it mounted, see how it looks. Kind of, it's a nice little feel good job. Alright, that's a bit cool. Only temporary. We've still obviously going to paint the car, but as I said, one of those nice little feel goods. A bit under the weather at the moment, so nice to have a little easy win. We've just double soak taped it on at the moment just so we can see how it fits, how it looks. All this will get painted interior body colour. So we're going to do all the cage, interior and engine bay the same colour, which means that I'll probably just blend all the top of the doors in. You already see that door has been replaced at some stage and resprayed white, but they haven't done the whole bit. It used to be covered by trim, so wasn't ever an issue. But I don't see much point in fixing those in fully or solid mounting them and putting windows in and all that until we've done with painting. So lots of fab work to go. We'll just end up destroying some of that stuff if we leave it in there too long. Another day, another little project. Just trying to get placement of bits and pieces in the car. I try and work out probably the most critical stuff first, and then obviously ancillary stuff like fuse boxes and that can get moved around. You want shifters in the right positions and all of that kind of jazz. So what we're doing at the moment is fuse box is kind of the next thing that I need to mount and need to get in place so I can start the wiring. But where that's going to go at the moment is a bit dictated to by where the shifter's going to go. We want the fuse box relatively accessible from driver's seat or passenger door, so we don't want it kind of locked in anywhere. So at the moment, sitting in the car where the shifter was way far forwards. So we just made a little bit of a template that's just from underneath, traced that out. That's what the shifter hole is with the bolt pattern. I've had this sitting up on top, and about here feels like kind of the right location for it. We do have this kink in the shifter, so what we can do is, that feels pretty good there, but with that kink in there, there's a fair bit of flexibility to kind of take that kink out a little bit, bend it back, move it forwards. But from where it was, you can see how far we've moved it back. There was no way that that was going to be something that we could work out. So what we'll probably do now is I'll probably hook in, get the grinder out, cut out this little ridge. Normally that's obviously a bit of a stiffener for the trans tunnel. With the cage and with what we'll end up doing, we'll probably end up removing this whole piece across the front as well anyway. But for now, I figure if we just remove that little piece that we need to, I can bolt the shifter up, get the shifter mounted where we want it. I think I'm going to try and get Jimmy up over the weekend to just hop in the car, see how the steering wheel placement feels, see how the seat placement feels. Nothing's kind of locked down just yet. And if we get the go ahead from there, I'll probably end up, start making some proper seat mounts. Hopefully by that stage, we might even have some of the surge tank, fuel cell, all that kind of jazz in. Yeah, keep going. Shifter relocated. Feels pretty good for me. It's kind of nice and in line with the steering wheel, which is what I like personally. Means that when you're driving, it's not much to take your hand off to grab it. It's obviously, the old bushings are a bit how you're going. We'll probably end up replacing a fair bit of this. It's got a lot of just old rubber bushes that are pretty knackered. Obviously moving it back, we're gonna have to extend the arms that run to and from, but in reality, we should just be able to measure what our difference is. So obviously we've gone from that bolt hole to that bolt hole. So I think that's, it's probably about 250 mil. So technically if we just extend the arms, how's that? 230 mil. If we extend these two push rods 230 mil, that should equate for pretty much what we've moved it back. Should be pretty simple like that. So and then we'll probably just take out a lot of those rubber bushings and just make up some urethane ones, or get some Delrin. I've used a bit of Delrin before and chuck it on the lathe, and it works pretty well for bushes. I did get a message today. I think some of our order is coming. With that in place there, I might actually start running some of the wiring harness. Probably take this old battery box out. That was a 25 kilo battery mounted with 2 screws just in the side there. Crazy. I think we'll probably go to a little lithium battery. Seen a fair few people use the Superstart batteries. We can get them locally here in Adelaide, so probably make a couple of phone calls, see who I can get one of them through. That goes from like a 25 kilo battery to, I think they're about 3 kilos, so that'll be pretty cool. Yeah, I think we'll probably start mapping out this wiring. I've started doing a bit of a wiring harness and a bit of a plan on the laptop. Probably gone over it before, but I just like using trailer wire. It's 7 wires, neatly packaged, easy to use, all color coded. If you run with kind of similar stuff to what the trailers run, your yellow's your left indicator, green's your right indicator, red's your brake, and there's your 7 cores all bundled up nicely. No expensive ray chem needed, just simple. And if you do it like the way I like doing it, is I'll run one to the back and I'll just put a 8-pin Deutsch plug at the back, so that if you ever have a wiring fault, you can kind of break the loom down fairly easily to see where your failure is, instead of having it all as one complete harness and then you kind of snook it if you're trying to find something. Well, yeah, should be good. We've got our little pigtails here that we'll connect to. That'll work all right. Where we run the hoses, where we run the cable will work out. But yeah, stick with it. Alright, racking my brain on where to mount this fuse box. They really need to come up with some extra mounting points for them, but what I've actually done is I've actually used the bottom of the case, braced all that up, and we've used that as a mount. So now it's actually in there nice and solid. She's not going anywhere. Nice part is, while you're sitting here, you can easily change a fuse, a relay if something goes on. I may end up putting the like resettable fuses in it. They're nice because if you do have an issue and it's just an intermittent something, you can just reset it. So if there's a problem, we can either try and reset it mid-race and then look at it at the end of a race. That fuse box there isn't going to run the fuel pumps or fans the way that this car was previously wired up with the link. There's 2 relays in the engine bay for the thermo fans and fuel pumps, and there's just no point pulling it all apart to get that out of it. So we'll just leave that as is. Everything's there for it, so no point reinventing the wheel to that extent. Next part will be, I'll start running that cable to the back and to the front. I'll probably go through and work out what we're actually going to use at the front and back. Tail lights wise, headlights wise. Yeah, keep going. So after all that, looking at the wiring, it's knackered. There was wires broken, just all sorts going on everywhere. So ditched the old connector. We're just going to use the 2 lights. All we really need is we're going to have an indicator, brake and a tail light. That's all we need for our category. We don't need reverse lights, high intensities, all of the kind of road going stuff. I wasn't going to do indicators on it, but we've got surplus switches on the switch pad. I thought, you know what, while we're here, if Jimmy ever wants to go do hill climbs, you can go do hill climbs. If you need road reg, it's, yeah, questionable. But hey, look, that's I think most of the hill climb cars out there with road reg are questionable. So with these, what I'll do, I use the little, well, Deutsch, so a little DTM connector. I think these things are rated for up to like 7 amps. so that'll be more than enough for these tail lights. Nice compact, waterproof or weatherproof. So yeah, we'll start wiring these in. Yeah, right. Wiring videos suck. Just very hard to take a video. Everything's so tight and finicky. We'll see how those turn out. I won't bore you with it, but we've gotten a fair way through. So I've got the tail lights done. Everything's just so dark. Tail lights done. We've got a couple of 3-pin Deutsch plugs here, running up to our relay fuse box right next to Jimmy. Started playing around with running some of the stuff to the front. We just got to finish soldering it, tie it all up, clamp it down, hold it there. But other than that, we just had a nice big order turn up. So we've ordered this gear on Monday, Wednesday it's here. So pretty awesome, stoked about that. It means we can start kind of mocking up where everything's going to go, and instead of little cardboard templates, I've actually got the full size thing. So let's start opening up. We pulled out the tank. We've got the lift pump. We've got their filler neck. So being that it's the new style tank, the opening is larger. So they've also thrown the adapter in that we need. So that adapter will bolt down. Comes with all the nuts and bolts and everything you need. And then this here will just bolt down to that adapter ring. So we went at 45 because I figure that it just means that when we're trying to fill it up, it'll be a bit easier. So just the little bits and pieces. Yeah, alright, Ryan stuffed up the Raceworks order. We've got my numbers back to front and a couple of fittings. So we've got -6 orbs to -8 flares instead of -8 orbs to -6 flares. And anyway, I'll get there one day. Ample will come to the rescue. They've got the bits and pieces we needed, so that's getting picked up hopefully today. I'll have that tomorrow, but for now I just need to focus on getting this wiring finished. Hopefully by the end of today I'll probably have everything buttoned up to the point where we might be able to get tail lights on and brake lights and all that working, which would be kind of cool. Yeah, just need to focus on this wiring. I reckon we'll try and get the wiring buttoned up, and then we'll keep going with probably starting to mock up some of the brake lines, fuel lines, that kind of jazz. So let's keep going. Well, time of truth. Something's either going to catch fire, or we might get some tail lights and lights coming on. Be cool. So we've I haven't finished it all. This kind of wiring, some of this is just temporary because we're just running on a battery that I've got kicking around, but battery will end up being mounted behind the seat here, which will be good. The little lithium battery that we're using is 3 kilos, so it's not really too much of a drama having it behind the driver. Through 150 amp breaker. So that there is basically just like your fuse. From that, we've got that 150 breaker powering this box. We will end up having another lead coming from this and following this loom and going through the firewall into the engine bay for a couple of bits like the starter motor and that. On the other side, I like to run the isolator switch on the ground. So that's off at the moment. So let's go turn that on. We might actually turn that off, and I'll turn the... Alright, so we have power there. So now everything should be live. Can we turn that on? No, okay. So I think the way these pads work is I think they need, this here is like a switching wire, this red one I think. So what I might do is I'll give that power there. We'll see how this goes. I may need to put you guys down. Oh, okay. We have something going on. So now this should be the left-hand indicator. Right indicator. Alright, nothing's going on there. Actually, I think that could be to do... What's going on here? That could be to do with... So I wonder if that... So yeah, nothing will turn on now. I think that may have more to do with the grounds that I've got on those tail lights than anything. Oh well, either way, pretty happy with that. Nothing caught fire. Turn the isolator off. I'll probably leave it there for this week. Probably going to try and do these, maybe see how we go weekly, see if we can do some shorter ones, do them weekly. So anyway, been a good week. We'll keep cracking on, come back next week, see what we're doing. Catch you later. Go on, do you really think I was going to leave you hanging? So, what we've got, the way this will all work in the end, is you got your oscillator, turn our oscillator on. We'll have this here just temporarily, that'll be our main kind of power. When we plug that in, and when we turn that on, basically that powers up our fuse box. We'll have coils, our main ECU. I reckon that one there from memory was wipers, high beam, left indicator, right indicator. So when we turn our ECU power on, if we push on the brake pedal, we get brake lights. Turn that off, left indicator, right indicator. How good is that? Offer $200 little switch panel. That should work brilliantly. And the nice part is you're meant to have a kill for being able to turn the car off while the engine's running. Say we've got that power on there for the ECU, so ECU's powered up. That little line that I was talking about here, this will be connected to our like a kill switch on the dash. As soon as we take that off, it kills all of our power to the ECU. Beautiful. Catch you later.